Hi, thanks. It's so nice to be here. And I was thinking as I was listening to examples of all the IFPRI research that has made a difference, that really what you should do if you're looking for indicators on the trade research is listen to what happens on the negotiating floor at the WTO, because you could have a count of IFPRI studies that get cited in that context. So anyway, it's a pleasure to be here. So we have 3 minutes, and now I have less. So what I wanted to do is focus attention a bit more broadly on the multilateral trade system and ask the question about what's the implication for this proliferation of regional trade agreements on the robustness of the multilateral trading system and the WTO. So we were asked to think about how markets and trade work or don't work for the poor, I guess. And so I'll start by saying I think it's clear that the WTO and the multilateral trading system do in many ways work for the poor. One of the really important features of the system is that it increases predictability and transparency of trade, and that helps policymakers make decisions with more information, and maybe hopefully helps dissuade policymakers from taking panicked kinds of decisions if they have more information. One of the key, so the system is built around 3 key parts. There's the rules, the dispute settlement, and then we have this really robust monitoring system and all the committees in the WTO where countries can pose questions to each other about what's going on at the domestic level, and those questions are expected to be answered in the committee for all the members to hear. So in that sense, the transparency function is really a public good that the WTO provides, and it especially is beneficial for smaller members who might not have the resources to actually go and find the information themselves. But it depends on the engagement of members. So if members aren't participating either by asking questions or responding to questions, then the system doesn't really work. Another way that the system, I believe, works for developing countries is that the rules are quite broad, especially the agreement on agriculture. There's a lot of room in there to find space for the kinds of policies that countries are looking to implement to deal with food security issues. But one of the challenges is that as part of the Uruguay round, built into the outcome were allowances for countries to continue to use trade distorting policies in agriculture in various ways, in tariffs and as well as in subsidies. And there's a built-in reform process, which, as we've heard this morning, has been a little bit stalled, as an understatement. And some would say that the lack of momentum in the reform process is linked to regional trade agreements and the shift of attention, especially of major players in the WTO, towards trying to find outcomes in regional trade agreements. So maybe I'll end with a question, which is, that I've been pondering, which is there a risk that the proliferation of these RTAs leads to a decreased engagement of policymakers, and that decrease in engagement will have greater implications for developing countries who benefit, in a sense, more from the public goods that come out of the system itself? Thank you.